Alright, good morning. Today is, May 30th, Saturday. It's about 7:46 in the morning. We're going to do another brief approach. This will be the VOR Alpha at Belen. So I'll load the procedure. Alright, so procedure. Approach. We need KBRG. That works. VOR-A, yes. Transition, we want to go to the Socorro VOR, and we'll load and activate the approach. Okay. Alright, that looks good. Go to home. Alright. And that does that for that. I'll talk to you just before we do the takeoff. Okay, back with you. We're at runway 12.
454, X-ray runway, clear for the option 11805.
Go to the option, runway 454 X-ray.
Just did the run up. And we're going to get permission here to take off. Albuquerque Tower, Bristol 585, number Mike, Colton Short 12, ready for takeoff.
Still 585, November Mike, Albuquerque Tower, good morning with 180 at 5, proceed on course, runway 12, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, I'm 12 on course, 500 Mike. Here we go. And we got both fuel pumps on, landing lights on, flaps 10, choke off, brake off, clear right, clear left, good. Nobody's coming in that I can see. Alright, it's going to be a warm day today, that's why we're early in the morning, let's do it. Alright, lined up, ready to rock. All the instruments, engine instruments are looking good. Here we go, airspeed's alive. And ease the throttle forward. 42 knots, 48, 50, that's takeoff speed. Up, and away we go. Not even gonna go to full turbo, don't need it. Tap the brakes, stop the wheels from vibrating. And 185 is gonna be our turn 2. That, flaps up, and landing light off, the fuel pump off, and we'll click on the autopilot. Should start our turn. There we go. And we want to have, we'll go back to heading. A little bumpy today so far. No notice of turbulence, so wouldn't you know it.
For 585, November Mike, contact departure, have a good day.
Going to departure, thanks tonight. And Albuquerque departure, Bristol 585, November Mike, passing through 6580 on the way to 85.
585, November Mike, Albuquerque departure, radar contact, I'm on course.
I'm on course, 5 November Mike. Okay, I'm going to be back on with you just briefly. That is Belen down there. I'm not sure with the wide angle lens you can really see it, but at the top of the bluff, a little bit above that, is the Belen Airport. Now we've still got 21.8 miles to go to get to the VOR. So when you're flying from Albuquerque, you have to go south, get to that VOR, do a procedure turn, and come back around. You'll see the plane pop up on the plate, but that's just because we're in proximity to that approach plate. It'll show us coming back onto that VOR. So anyway, I'm going to put up the approach plate right now so you can take a look at it, and we'll brief the approach. Take this camera off. So, 11855 is the AWAS. I've already listened to that.
Mike, are you going to be full stopping in 2 of them?
No, we're just doing this approach at Belen and then back to Albuquerque. Okay, so where was it? So 11855 is the AWAS. I've already got that. Wind is 160 at 6. Altimeter is the same as Albuquerque. The Albuquerque approach 123.9, we're on with them. 22.8 we got backed up is so we can switch over to it. 116.8 is already set in the for the VOR. Their final approach course is 345. Minimum altitude at the final approach fix is 7,000 feet. We're at 85 right now. Airport elevation is 5194. Missed approach is climbing right turn to 8,000 feet inbound via the Socorro VOR. Radial 345 back to the VOR hold. So the way this flight plan is set up, we will enter the hold, and I'll show that when we get down there. The minimums for the, and it's only a circle to land approach because remember it's a VOR alpha, which means it's not straight into any runway. It's 5,680 feet, and I've got that dialed in for minimums. So, talk to you when we get closer to the VOR. Okay, we're coming up on the Socorro VOR. We've got 1.5 miles to go, 47 seconds. What's going to happen is we're on autopilot, we're flying nav, so it should come in and it'll start doing the procedure turn, and it'll want to do the hold, I think, but we will see. And if it does that, we'll unsuspend the approach so we don't do the hold. And GTN's telling me hold teardrop, which makes sense. Expand this out a little bit so we can see it. And this approach is what they call a dive and glide. In other words, there's no vertical guidance as far as I know, or at least it wasn't the last time I tried it. Which means right after the VOR on the approach, we'll go down to 7,000 feet. At final approach fix, then we dive down to 5,680, which is the minimums. So the autopilot's doing great. It's flying. It's entering the hold. And you'll notice that the GTN now is suspended. So that means if I didn't unsuspend it, it would enter the hold and just continue flying the hold, which is what you want because you want to be able to tell it when you're ready to do the approach just in case they have you hold. So it's easy to go to that first. Now what I'll do as soon as we come out of this big loop and we're heading back in, I will unsuspend it. That should start sequencing the waypoints. And we're at 8,000 feet, which is the minimum for hitting the VOR. You could have been at 12,000 feet, but you'd have to lose a lot of altitude quickly, so it makes no sense doing that unless there's some reason for it with the weather or something. So we're still on GPS navigation. We'll have to flip over to the VOR frequency as soon as we get on the final approach course, and I'll do that. I'll talk about it. So the good old autopilot's flying like a champ. Gonna make the turn. VOR frequency, which I've got dialed in at 116.8. And we'll start descending to, in fact, I'll dial the descending altitude in right now of 7,000 feet. So there's that. We'll do that with indicated airspeed. And yep, approach plate shows 7,000 feet. We're coming around. I've already been approved for the approach by departure. Waiting for him to tell me to switch to CTAP before I do anything with the radios. So you'll see approach course coming in. Then the heading bug, get it over to 345. Actually, it was pretty smooth coming down, even though we had some bumps on the takeoff. So far, so good on that. All right, so now we're on the final approach course. It's still suspended, which is kind of weird because it's showing that we're going to miss that. So I'm not sure how that's working. But I'm going to go ahead and switch over to that. And we'll see. We need to switch the course to 345. There's that. Okay. Push the approach button. Let me do that. So we'll do heading. And we'll go back over here. We've got VOR, that's 116.8. And let's see where we are. Map. Right there. Waypoint. Alright, there's the waypoint, and we've just now hit it, so we're going to descend. So come down. And you saw the needle move off because that's when we were just going over the VOR. And we'll descend down to 7,000 feet. Again, this is dive and glide, so you want to do it. And it's capturing the VOR, which is perfect, what it should be doing. So no vertical guidance, so this is like you've got to do all this yourself. A lot of approaches are a lot worse because they've got a whole bunch of step down points. This one only has really one. You go down to 7,000 feet Then after you hit the final approach course, which is 13 miles from the VOR, you go down to 5680. So as soon as we capture 7,000 over here, I'll dial in 5680 for the final approach. And luckily, the GPS has actually got the distance 13, but they've got it named as a waypoint, which makes sense. So, we'll go into Soaps.
Coming from the south.
I guess Soaps is the final approach fix right there. That's where we'll go down. So,
radar service terminated, squawk VFR, change advisory.
Mooney, 72 Tango Foxtrot, Roger, squawking 1200, and I'll be looking for that guy doing the VOR approach. Thank you.
all right, there's 7,000 feet.
Morning, Albuquerque.
So we'll do 5680.
Double Eagle, passing through 5,600. Excuse me,
All right, there's
5680. 8,500.
So as soon as we get to that, the final approach fix, we'll dive to that. All right, back to the regular camera.
Just confirm it's November 860 Delta Papa, state type aircraft.
And approach 5-number mics on the VOR approach.
5-number Mike, Roger, traffic before you go, about a mile and a half east of Belen is a target of 7,100, seems to be in the pattern. Additional traffic, 10 miles northwest of the airport, southeastbound 7,500 is a Mooney, inbound for a full stop in the Belen. Radar service terminated, squawk VFR, change advisory, 50 approved, get on the go.
Okay, you just switched it over to CTAF. Talk to you after the mist. 5-number mic and looking for traffic. Okay, so far so good. We've got 5.5 miles to Soaps. It's on the approach plate. It doesn't show that. It just shows DME from the VOR of 13 miles. But the GPS needs a waypoint to figure out where it is. So Soaps will be the final approach fix. And that's when we'll dive down to 5680. Hold that altitude until we do the missed approach. We'll just fly over the airport, then back to Albuquerque. And I'll show the landing going into Albuquerque. And Belen traffic, Bristol 585, North Mike, 5.5 miles south of the field, 7,000 feet, flying VOR Alpha with a missed approach to Albuquerque, Belen. Alright, we got 0.6 miles to Soaps, that's where we dive and glide. So I'm going to put in indicated airspeed, which is how I want to go down. And I could do vertical or VNAV, but I like indicated airspeed. So there we go, there's the final approach fix right there, indicated airspeed. Bingo, down we go. Alright, landing lights on, there the fuel pumps on. We're descending to 5680. You see it get pretty low for this circling.
Runway 13, full stop, Belen.
And Belen traffic, Bristol 585, North Mike, 2 miles south of the field, descending to 5680 with a missed approach back to Albuquerque, Belen. And I actually should have gone down a little bit quicker because we're at 5820 right now, and we can go to 5620.
And which VOR?
5680.
500.
Belen traffic, Bristol 585, North Mike, coming up on the field, passing over the field, midfield at 5680 feet with a missed approach back to Albuquerque, Belen.
I take the picture of 210 Delta at 9,000 feet over the Socorro VOR on a VOR approach with a go alarm at 7.
Belen traffic, 72 Tango Foxtrot is on the ground, runway 13. I'll be going off 17 on Belen.
Yeah, Bristol just passing over you, 5 North Mike. And Belen traffic, Bristol 585 North Mike, off the mist. At Belen, got the the traffic on final for 13 in sight, Belen. Back with you. We're on final approach for runway 3. We're flying the LNAV, or RNAV, excuse me, 3, full stop. And that's a shot of the Rio Grande River. It's actually got some water in it for a change. Way off in the distance is downtown. And there's the runway. Do a little bit of this, what we're doing. We got 3.6 miles to go. And like I said, I'll show the landing. Cut out parts if it gets too boring here. Back to the regular camera. And need to slow it down a little bit. 96 knots, too fast. And obviously we've got a 20 knot quarter tailwind from the right. Alright, slowing down, both fuel pumps on, the landing lights on. .84 knots, that's good enough. 80 knots, put the flaps in, bingo. Alright, so both fuel pumps on, landing lights on, 10 degrees of flaps are in, brakes off, chokes off. Looking good. Autopilot's still on. Center the heading bug just in case. To do a missed approach. Or go around, I guess would be.
500.
And we've got minimum set in of 5512. And we're going to have a little bit of a crosswind landing, so let's see how that goes. Taking the autopilot off. Set the trim. Alright, a little above the glide slope, glide path. Alright, start paying attention to outside. A little above, you can see the 3 whites. 71 knots, a little fast. Slow it down. We've been cleared to land.
Minimums.
So straighten out the nose. There we go. Pull the power off. Alright, level off. Look at the end of the runway. Keep the plane straight. Oh, very nice. Boy, it's almost like the autopilot did it. Anyway, on the ground, good flight, and we'll end it here. Thanks for coming along. See ya.